Welcome back to the next installment of the HellUvaWillys build. In the last episode, we went through and got our main hoop bent for the roll bar and the back bar installed as well. And that was really important for this episode because now we can go in and start installing the inner trunk. And that's what I'm going to do today, is show you guys how I put the hinges onto the inner trunk first and then kind of swoop it down into place. And then we can actually install it to the main little back bar we got back there. I shouldn't say little, it's 1 3/4. But we'll get that all installed. We're using some of my 41Willys hinges that I make. Cut and broke them probably a week ago or so on the plasma table and the press brake. And then TIG welded them last night. So everything's pretty much ready to go. If we got enough time today, we're going to go through and start making our down bars that are going to go out past the rear wheel tubs. So just to kind of add even another layer of protection for this car. It's got 707 horsepower. That's a lot for something that's this light. And I just want it to be a decently safe street car for somebody. So we're going to get to work and see what happens. I'm Zach Leber. This is Lebratory. Let's get to it. The first thing we're going to do today is get the actual trunk hinges themselves installed to the inner trunk. I'm going to leave the adjuster on so that way it's already mounted for when we put it into the car. You're going to notice I have a hole drilled on both sides already. That's just so I could make it a little bit easier while I'm talking to line everything up. But we'll line it up and we're going to take... Actually, I probably should talk about this. I buy these long jaw clamps from Harbor Freight. They're like $4. I use these more than anything at this point. They work really nice. Keep the actual clamp face out of the way constantly. But we're going to take and we're going to line it up to where it needs to go. And it's pretty self-explanatory with the 41Willys. These are not the worst car to build, but I'm going to get them set up. And I like to just make sure it's straight on the back side of the inner. Like I said before, I already got a hole here, but I like to keep it in this main flat surface as much as possible, which I have set these hinges up so they should be right in there. And then we're going to take our clamp, get them clamped into place. If it moves around a little bit, that's okay. I'm going to get it centered back up with that hole. Just like that. Super easy. And we'll check really quick just to make sure we got it in the right spot. Yep. I like to go to the local hardware store and just get a bag of bolts. I just load it up with like 10 pounds and then we'll go through, we'll assemble the entire car. When we go to disassemble it for paint, that's when we'll basically throw everything back into here and swap everything over to stainless once the car itself is painted and done. Make sure you wear a dust mask for this stuff. It's pretty abrasive. And some safety glasses. We're going to go through and we're just going to drill all of our holes. Make sure that this is tight. Pretty sure I just loosened it. Yep. So... these hinges I'm going to send out to have powder coated when all is said and done. And we're just going to put our bolts in. And for right now, we're just going to put a nut on the back side. But once the inner is on the car and swinging, we'll end up putting the plates in and getting them glued into place. Take our clamp off now. And that's one. Now that we got our hinges installed, we're going to come in. Just like that. Hook her underneath and drop her in. Now, nice thing about the 41 is it pretty much self-aligns the inner for you, but we might still have to come back in and heat it up a little bit to get it to, you can see it's got a little bit of pop right here, and we want to make sure that we don't have that, because then it makes a weird ridge on the edge. Cool. Now we can hop into the car and start getting the actual brackets for the adjusters installed. I'm kind of excited. I haven't done it this way yet. I always have an issue with storing these stands. I can never find a place to lean them up against. So I decided to 3D print some hangers that worked really well. They basically snap into place now, just like that. And they're sturdy enough to hold it up nice and securely. We have our trunk hinges bolted to the inner part of the trunk, and now I have the adjustment brackets bolted to that on both sides. We've got to weld in these brackets that I made from the roll bar back bar, and then bolt them to the adjustment bracket. Each one gets 4 bolts, and when all is said and done, we'll actually put locking nuts on this so that way they can't slide out. What makes it nice is these brackets can move back and forth, up and down. This set I'm not going to really be able to move side to side too much. There is some play. There's like an 1/8 inch of play in it, so that way we can move to the left or the right if we need to, but we shouldn't need to. And I'm going to be happy with it about right there. Tighten them up. Stayed right at 3 degrees, perfect. Cool. And you can see that the hinge itself will have a little bit of play, so that way we can adjust it left or right if we need to. Now, you take it out of it just basically by, there's a lock nut right here, and as you tighten that up, it will actually adjust that play out of it. But for now, I want to have it in there so we can get a good idea of what she's going to look like. So, now, let's make sure she's sitting straight. She's about a 1/10 of a degree off, so I'm going to say that's good. We've got our hinge fully set up now. I did do the other side off camera just because it's hard to get the angles in here for the camera itself. I also knocked the camera over last week, so I'm a little freaked out by that. But we're going to get it tacked in, and we'll get both sides tacked in actually. And then we'll pull the ratchet strap off the back. I'll show you what I did there. That little bit of bounce that we had, I just took a ratchet strap and pulled it down, just so I knew that this was all held into place and exactly where it should go. So we'll tack this in, we'll tack the other side in as well, and then we'll give her a try. We've got a couple good tacks in there. Looks nice. So this is what I meant about the ratchet strap. I just wrapped it right around the back where we had that bounce right there. And it'll still be there. I got to go through and actually heat it up. But I just wanted to make sure that we had those hinges up as far as we could go. And we'll see if it works. It might not. You never know. What you heard is actually the pressure from right here rubbing, because I did pull this up as far as I could go. That's not an issue at all. I probably should get some type of bar going up to the back bar so it won't try and break those tacks that I have. But I'm gonna have to adjust her out a little bit because she is just too dang close. And that's all right. That's why we have the adjusters. So that way now I can loosen these up. I can bring this hinge this way ever so slightly, just so it passes by that lip. Also, my bolts are hitting right here as well, which I kind of figured that was going to happen. I will end up going through and putting countersunk bolts into here as well. Now I need to find something I can reach so I can prop this guy up and adjust this. Here's the hinge fully installed on the passenger and the hinge fully installed on the driver. They look really nice. This is going to be a ridiculous bend. I've got to go from here all the way down to here, and there's at least 1, 2, 3 bends, and maybe like a 4th right in here. I'm going to try and do this one straight and it's going to stay hidden inside this part of the rear quarter, whatever you want to call it, next to the trunk lid. So what I want to do is I'm going to use this TIG wire, and I'm basically going to profile the outside of the body from about maybe 4 inches ahead of where my bar is down to right in here where it's going to stop. It'll actually turn, but we're not going to worry about that yet. So you got to remember that these bodies are between an 1/8 inch to a 1/4 inch thick for street weight applications. That being said, we can take and make a profile with some wire, set it down on some paper, and we can kind of compensate for the body thickness and make a template of our bend setup. So all I'm going to do is mark where I want to start, and we're going to go, like I said, about 4 inches ahead of that bar. That way we have some extra to mess up with. And we're going to take and just kind of get it somewhat eyeballed. And it looks like it needs to be about right there. And I think, yep, so that'll put us in the curve of the bend of the hoop. I'm going to mark this again. And we're going to just see what we can do here. Might work, might not. Yeah, that fits in really good now. This will give us a rough idea. Now I'm not pushing down hard on this. Like you can see, it's as close as not as close as I can get it, but it's just very close to where we want this bar to sit. And we're going to go in 3/4 of an inch to an inch inside this template, which should give us a really good idea of where everything's going to be. It sits close because when we lay it flat on the ground, it'll at least give us an idea where everything's got to go. And realistically, the other bend's going to start like right here. I'm going to go in an inch from the template line because that's the closest I want to be with the bar. I don't want to be any narrower than an inch. This ruler's got a 1/8 inch gap in between its first start for 0. So I'm going to use all of that at the 1 so we can kind of take in some of the thickness of the body as well. I have a 45-degree template here. That's where our actual bender bracket holds the die, or the tube to the die. So I'm going to use that to kind of somewhat fashion this in the angle that I need it to go. We'll see. Might work, might not. So I think we're going to make this bend first. Mostly because I need to be able to see where this end is going to line up with the top of the roll bar. We'll do that one second, and then the one for the wheel well will come third. And I'm going to try and do this in 3 bends and leave it as straight as I can up underneath the car. But we're getting there. This is going to be a lot. First bend I set at 30 degrees. Pretty happy with it. We'll make our second bend right around in this area, so that way we can kind of start getting an idea where this thing's going to go. I'm going to go a little bit higher than I think I should. And the only reason I'm not really showing you guys what I'm doing is because we did a 20-minute or 30-minute video last week on the machine, the bender, the JD squared, and I don't think people want to watch that twice. Here's number 2, and we're inside of our line. Now we got to figure out down here. This has turned into quite the project. So what I have so far, may find some place to put this mic. What I have so far is something along these lines. So we're gonna try and get her up into there, like so. And then I gotta basically get this thing to bend and fit down towards the back. This sucks. Let's give this a try. Worst part is I gotta build a second one. Oh. And perfect. She fits up in there good. The only thing is she's tight right here, but I don't think I can get too picky about that, just because I'm gonna end up missing my mark if I don't, or if I do. But yeah, that fits really good. I'm gonna tack it in. I do have a little bit of a gap right here, but I am gonna put gussets and stuff all through this thing, so I think it'll end up working out pretty nice. We're gonna call that a night. That ended up being a way bigger project than I anticipated. So today we got our trunk hinges installed. We got our trunk swinging. We diagnosed why it was rubbing up there in the front. Super simple situation. I just didn't get a chance to actually clean the trunk opening itself. So got that done. I got to go through and clean up like the windshield and the windows and stuff as well. I'm probably just going to get that done here this coming weekend. The first down bar for the far back one is tacked in. I might pull that back out and just get the fitment just a little bit better. It's nothing too much to worry about, but I do have to run down bars to the chassis underneath the floor because there is a gap there, so I want to make sure that everything's stiff and it's not just, you know, bolted to the fiberglass. So we'll go through this coming weekend, get the other down bar done. That's going to probably be another 3 or 4 hour thing, and I don't even know if I'll record that part. I'm going to start messing with the dash here. We're going to get the doors back on, start getting those marked so I can show the bodywork and stuff that goes into getting them perfect. And we'll also get our bracing put in from the roll bar to the doors themselves. Looks like another busy weekend ahead. I'm excited with how this thing's coming out. It's coming along a lot better than it was earlier in the year, because this floor was just, there was so much to it. I was not anticipating that being such a project. Normally it's set the floor down, set the body down, and line it up, and then glass, and that was not the case with this one. But it's okay. We got through it, which is more than fine with me, because I did not enjoy that part of the job at all. I think it's time to call it quits. I'm Zach Leber. This is the Lebratory, and until next time, go build something.